Hey everyone, welcome to this session, which I think will be a series of sessions. That is my intent to have these live videos every Tuesday and Friday. That's the plan right now. Um, and the theme is embracing chaos. When you think about the history of the world and the history of business, really, it's the history of chaos. And the ones that thrive and survive are the ones that can embrace chaos. So that's what we're going to be talking about. I intend to have these sessions on Tuesdays and Fridays. Um, this is sort of where I'm following my heart. We'll see how it goes. But I did some introspection and reflection on what I can do. What are my skills that I can apply in this sort of environment? And, I have good coaching and counseling skills. I have a background in that. I have a thing on my website where people can sign up for an hour of my time. I've done hundreds and hundreds of those sessions, and I'm good at it. And so I thought this could be a way I could maybe make that sort of more readily accessible and available to a broader audience, because we all need a little help and attention right now. So my thought is that I would have a certain topic or theme for each of these sessions. And what I want to do is talk about two things today. And I want to encourage your dialogue, by the way. Now, I'm the kind of person, I'm not a good multitasker. So I'm sort of going to be concentrating on what I talk about today, but I'll try to also keep an eye on your questions and comments, and to the best of my ability, which is not very much. But I'll also look at your questions and comments after the session. So, the two things that I want to talk about today, number one, is I want you to think about the process of grieving and how it relates to you and your business and your customers right now. I want you to think about grieving as a business process. All right? And that's going to lead into a second subject today. The second thing I want to talk about is encouraging you to think about reframing your business in the context of the needs of the moment. All right? So those are the two things we're going to talk about today. Now, before I do that, I want to suggest a couple ground rules. We will open this up to dialogue and questions. As I said, I'm not real good at multitasking, but I'll do my best. But I want to keep this sort of high level. If we start to get into individual problem solving, I'm afraid we're going to lose the rest of the group. So, we'll kind of see how that goes. But that's kind of my idea. Please feel free to add your comments and dialogue. That's what's going to make it fun and interesting for me. And please, if you like this today, if you get value today, please share this with others, because what I want to try to do here is create a message of hope and encouragement that can touch many people. So let's get into these two main ideas today. And the first one, as I mentioned, is this idea of considering grieving or grief in the business process. Now, when we usually think of grief, we might associate that with losing a loved one, right? And I certainly don't want to minimize that sort of grief. But if you look at what's happening in the world today, we're losing a lot. We're losing a lot. We're losing our freedom in many cases. We're losing our financial resources. We're losing our ability to travel freely, maybe even to see our family. I've lost a lot of my work life. Many people are losing their workspace. They're losing their social network. We're even being limited now in some cases about when we can go to church. Restaurants and bars are closing, a big part of our social life. I learned today that a big theater movie chain is closing. And I saw a post recently where someone said, well, we need to be positive and we can't have fear. And if you let fear come into your life, then you're adopting a victim mentality. And I want to say today that's not right. That's not correct. And that it's okay to feel fear right now, to be scared. It's okay. It's a normal human reaction to circumstances like this, these unprecedented circumstances that we're in. If you were feeling happy or joyful or determined, people wouldn't say, that's not all right to feel that way. So feeling fearful, feeling anxiety is a normal human reaction, and you should embrace that, okay? Part of this idea of embracing the chaos is embracing the chaos inside you right now. And that's going to take some time, but you need to be gentle on yourself, and you need to forgive yourself right now if you're distracted. If things are falling off the table, if you're getting into arguments, if your stress is high, because this is all part of this grieving process. So let's talk about this specifically. So it's okay to feel what you feel. It's part of this normal process that we're going through. I think we're all experiencing a grieving process to some extent today because we're all losing something. Now, the most famous process that's been articulated around the grieving process was by Elizabeth Kubler-Ross. And I know this psychological model has come under some debate, but for the sake of simplicity, I want to hear where you are today. So the classic model is these 5 stages of grief, right? And I want you to think about this. How does this apply to you, your business, and your customers right now? All right? Because until we get to that stage of acceptance, it's going to be really hard to do this pivot, which is what I'm going to talk about next. So number 1, denial. I'm still seeing people saying, this is a hoax. And, I connected with some people from Italy and Spain over the last 2 days. And they said, we used to think this was a hoax too. And now we can't even go out on the street. This is no hoax. So some people are still in denial. Denial, then comes anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. So where are you guys right now? Let me know where you are in the process. I want your comments. For me, I'm sort of wavering between depression and acceptance. It seems like in the morning, I read the news and I feel depressed. And by the end of the day, I'm sort of going toward acceptance. And then in the morning, I'm depressed again. I think it's part of the where we are. So I'm just looking at some of your comments. Helen says bargaining, and my friend says she's definitely in acceptance. There's a lot of people sort of in acceptance. Jonathan from Vancouver. And by the way, one of the things is I appreciate all of you being here today. And I'm not going to call out everybody's names like a lot of people do. Oh, hey, Jordan. Hey, Lori. Because I think there's going to be a lot of value from this recording. And I don't want to interrupt the content, by, saying hi to everybody. But I do appreciate you. So, all right. So what I want you to be thinking about is where are you in this, in terms of these stages of grief, and where are your customers in these stages of grief? And we have to get to this stage of acceptance before we can move to the next stage. So here's what I think really the next stage is. Before I get into that, I want to just mention one thing. I want to welcome some of the people that came in a little bit late, and just mention that I'm going to be doing this on Tuesdays and Fridays, for a couple of weeks at least. We'll see how it goes. And I really want to hear your comments and your questions. I'm not a good multitasker, but I'm going to try to get to those as best as I can. I think Steve has a great comment here. He said, "I'm with you." He said, I feel depressed when I'm alone, and acceptance when I have a chance to talk to others." I think that's really a wonderful observation. So one of the ground rules here is we want to try to stay high level if we can, but please feel free to dialogue. Now let's get to this second issue, and this is really a hard truth, but it's something that we need to realize right now, and it is this: that the core idea of our business, the core services that we provide, may not matter right now. All right? This is a hard truth to think about. So let's talk this through together, and let me give you a couple of examples. I had an email exchange this week with a friend in Tokyo, and he said, "Mark, I'm a leadership consultant, and I've been very successful, but Tokyo is really suffering right now, and we're kind of battered, we're afraid, we're in lockdown, and I'm not sure many people really care about my leadership consulting capabilities right now." And I think, he's correct. I'm having a similar experience right now myself. A lot of the core things I do are drying up, or even have completely dried up, right? Conferences, speaking, even my consulting. I'll give you an example. I've been working with this wonderful, wonderful client down in Miami, and they reached out to me last week, and they said, "We need to have a meeting with you because we're rethinking some of our social media strategy, and we want to get you on the phone." I said, "Okay, great. Let me know what works for you." I've got a lot of time on my hands right now. So really, I'm pretty open. Did not hear back from them. So I circled back. I said, "Hey, just wanted to make sure that I'm not missing something. Hadn't heard back from you." They said, "Well, Mark, we do want to talk to you, but we're really in the middle of a crisis right now. Our whole supply chain is in turmoil. We can't get enough workers. We can't get enough trucks. There's been a decrease in demand for our product, and it's kind of like all hands on deck right now." So this is what I'm saying, in that in this case of my friend, the leadership consultant, or what I do, there's no amount of promotion I can do. There's no coupon or discount I can offer to make people want this more right now if they're worried about feeding their family, if they're worrying about, their spouse being stuck in Europe or something right now, or are we going to have enough food stockpiled, or will we have enough toilet paper, which is number one on everybody's minds, I guess, right? So what we need to do is reframe our business and reframe what we do in a meaningful way to the moment, to what's happening now. Okay? So what I'm doing right now, I'm not doing necessarily that's going to lead to business, but what I'm just trying to think through is, what are my core skills and competencies that I can use right now in a meaningful way to meet the unmet, underserved needs of the people, in my community, in business and marketing in the world. And this is one of the things I'm doing. So let me give you an amazing example of how this works and what I mean by this. So 2 days ago, I got an email from a rancher. Now, this is a ranch. This is a guy that grows cows. And here's what the email said: I am a local rancher, and I know that you enjoy going to restaurants in our areas that serve our steaks. And you're not going to be able to do that because these restaurants are closing and we're not supposed to be gathering together. We will bring our steaks to you. I thought that was amazing. Here we've got this B2B business, this down and dirty ranching business, growing cattle, and they're saying, no, we're not going to have a living left, but here is an unmet need. Look, I went to Kroger this week. They had no meat. The shelves were empty in our area. And here's a rancher that's reframing his business to say, look, here is our here are where our customers are in this moment. They don't know if they're going to get enough food. They can't enjoy steaks and go out. We're going to help them do that. All right. Here's another example. U-Haul. U-Haul is, I don't know if they're an international company, but in America, U-Haul is a do-it-yourself moving truck company, right? Generally, right? People aren't moving right now. People are kind of staying. They're buying a lot of houses right now. They're not doing. So what did they announce? They said, hey, we realize that we're in a crisis right now. We're going to provide free storage facilities for college students that are being displaced from their dorms. Isn't that amazing? Let's think about this. This is something that's been on my mind. As some of you know, I mentor this family, and Elijah is in college now in Missouri, and I'm like worried trying to figure out what's going to happen to this kid. He's 9 hours away from me, and he's being kicked out of his dorm. What are we going to do with this stuff, right? Now, there's millions of college students in the same situation. U-Haul is saying, look, we're going to create this process for you. We're going to meet this underserved need in this moment of crisis. If you're a college student and you're being displaced, you can put your stuff in our storage units for free for a month. Now, first thing is, I didn't even know U-Haul had storage units, right? So good PR, good press there. They're solving a problem. They're connecting to people in the moment of need. It's going to probably result in a lot of business for them because a lot of these students aren't going to be, storing something for a month. They're going to be storing it for a number of months, right? So there's a lot of case studies now, a lot of examples. I see my friend Ryan from Atlanta is on the call on our video today. I had a call with him yesterday. He has a magazine, successful magazine that serves an affluent community in the Atlanta area. We were talking about, oh my gosh, are people still going to advertise in my magazine? These are people with restaurants and people with theaters. Are they going to still advertise? How can we reframe this connection in an environment where people are going to be bored, right? They're going to be bored. They're going to have to entertain their children. They're going to run out of Netflix movies. Netflix and chill. They're going to at least run out of the Netflix part. Don't know about the chill part. That's a story for another day. Where was I'm distracting myself. So we talked about, look, people are going to be bored at home. Could some of the chefs at these restaurants use your online platform to connect to your audience to teach cooking classes? Is there something they could do to have classes for kids or teach kids or entertain people? We see things like New York Metropolitan Opera live streaming their operas to entertain people in their homes. So the big idea here is we have to reframe. This is not easy. This is not simple. There really hasn't been a template for this before. This is what we have to do. We need to rethink, reframe our businesses because what we did last month may not matter right now. And we need to look at this as a hard, cold reality and think about what can we do? What do we do that does matter today? Because no amount of advertising, no amount of discounts is going to sell our stuff to people if it's not relevant, if they don't care right now, all right? So it's going to come back. We need to be patient. We can't abandon a good business or a good business plan. But in this near term, and it could be months, we need to think about our core competencies and applying that in a new way. So that's really the message that I want to bring to you today. I hope, I want you to feel hopeful. There's a lot of opportunities. I think, doggone it, if this rancher can figure it out, he's got acres of these cows standing around, and figure out what can he do. He's got these cows standing around, and he has no way to feed his family. And he came up with this way of saying, we're going to bring you our steaks. I mean, look, that's amazing, right? What U-Haul is doing is amazing. There's lots of ideas like that out there for every kind of business. So what I wanted is, like I said, I'm good multitask, but I see that we had a lot of comments here. My friend, I'm going to take some of your comments and some of your questions, if that's all right with you. And by the way, as I mentioned earlier, look, I hope that this does provide value to people. If it provided value to you, think about sharing it with others. I'm going to be doing this every Tuesday and Friday, at least for a couple weeks. We'll see how it goes. So thank you so much for that. So Enrico, my friend down in Orlando, he said, I wonder if a leadership coaching model with deferred compensation could work during this time. See, that's a very creative idea. Very creative idea. And one of the things I've been thinking about is, are the ways to apply my marketing skills, even if it's for free, help people through this. Ursula, my friend out on the coast, hope you're doing great, Ursula. Hope you're home, because I know you've been seeing Ursula says, concerned about global supply chain. SAP just opened up their Ariba Discovery to anyone to help buyers and suppliers connect. Man, Ursula, that's amazing. She's supplied a link here. Check that out. I think that's the type of heart and generosity that are going to keep people going. We just have to lift each other up. I say that all the time to my community in my speeches, and if you've done a coaching session together, I've said we're all in this together. I truly look at it that way. I really don't see that we're competitors. It's a big world. We can all thrive and survive, and we need to lift each other up and help each other. Adrian Roman says care.com is offering a free month to sign up for care. Very, very interesting. Lots of nice comments. Ursula Weffer says a farm in my area is doing the same, offering their greens straight to consumers. I've started a garden, but the deer eat most of it. So I'm not going to be in a position to feed anyone, probably, except the deer. They're here first. Okay, here's a great question from Tim. Tim said, how do you sell right now without feeling icky? Or do you offer free services for now? And I had a very similar question yesterday, Tim, that, again, we need to be ultra sensitive to this mindset. I don't know if you were here for the first part of my call, but what I encourage people to do is to think about business right now and our world right now in the context of grieving. We're grieving. our customers are grieving because maybe we haven't lost a loved one, but we're losing a lot. We're losing our freedom. We're losing our workplace and our financial, resources a lot. And so, how would you approach somebody who's grieving? I think that's the mentality we need to have right now. That's the incredible sense of compassion and generosity, is that our customers, they're suffering. And so that's how we need to approach somebody. Would you sell something to somebody at a funeral? Think about this in context, right? And I think that's the proper mindset we need to have right now when we go about selling. If someone was at a funeral, we would say, how can I help you? What can I do for you? We'll worry about the money later. What can I do for you right now? Because you're hurting and you're scared and you're grieving, and we all are, and we're in this together. And I think that's going to be the template as we go forward. Looking at some other comments here. Again, not good at multitasking. Enrico, again, offers good advice. He says, offer a pared down version of your services with deferred payment that can later be leveraged when things return to normal. Important to tread lightly in advertising. And, one of the things I'm seeing, and I hope you're looking at this for all of your businesses, are you reframing your advertising right now in the context of customer grief, right? There's a lot of stuff, a lot of us out there that, they've been in the queue for a long time. And if you're not careful, you're going to become a meme. You're going to become a joke if you're providing, if you sell stuff that's just inappropriate right now. This is interesting. Ursula says the Cincinnati Zoo is streaming live every day for different animals to keep kids engaged. This is one of the ways I'm sort of grieving right now, is because we have a wonderful, amazing zoo in Knoxville. And I hope you'll visit our town sometime and visit me and our zoo when things get better. But our zoo is closed. So I'm thinking, oh my gosh, are we going to have a zoo? Our minor league hockey team is closed down. Our minor league baseball team has closed down. Are we going to have, what is the world going to look like after these things have been closed down? So that's something that's been hard. Helen Reynolds says, I've made creativity challenge for free to cheer up home workers, people who are self-isolating. I think we've got two different problems going on right now. Number one, there's a lot of people who have to work at home who are alone, right? Are there unmet and underserved needs for you there? There are new opportunities. There's a new world of opportunity here. If we find a way to reframe our core competencies to meet people where they are in the moment, where they are today. The other issue is, maybe you're not alone. Maybe you have to work at home, a boatload of kids over you. That represents an entirely different need, right? So let's see. Mitchell. He's using this opportunity to relearn something, attending some certification courses. He plans to teach his clients then what he's learned. He's such a good. I miss you. I haven't seen you. Jonathan, I'm offering my 5-week social media boot camp for free to any business that's had to close. Jonathan Christian, with an amazing heart, another amazing sense of generosity. Lori says she's sending out an email campaign to invite those business owners whose operations have come to a screeching halt to have a complimentary, no strings attached phone consultation. I'm just hoping to help them get unstuck. Lori, good. That's the kind of people I love to have in my community. Uh, Nazim, my dear friend, thank you for being here. Everyone now going toward remote working. Are you concerned that bandwidth will be an issue? It's funny. Uh, my friend Tom Webster posted a screenshot of I think it was GoToMeeting, and it said, "This service not available today. It's not currently available." And Tom is such a witty guy, and his comment was, "Oh dear God, not today." Who knows? I mean, there are certainly opportunities if you can provide help people connect. Um, Gary asks, how could creative visionaries actually perpetuate this evolution through collaboration? It's funny, I read an article, I believe it was in Harvard Business Review yesterday, saying that actually they think collaboration and creativity are going to take a hit because we don't have sort of physical brainstorming and whiteboarding and building on ideas. And so I'm like you, Gary. I think there's some opportunities here to find new ways to be creative, to find new ways to collaborate. I think one of the things I wrote about in my blog post this week was I think that there's going to be a real spike in innovation because people are going to have to find ways to use these technologies in new ways, to mash them up in different ways. Because look, let's face it, I don't like sitting on webinars, right? I mean, I think our time is getting ready right now. We've been 30 minutes. That's pretty close to, I think, people's attention span. And we're going to be in webinar overload. And people just can't pay attention that long. So I think there's going to be really interesting challenges and opportunities around around finding new to connect and to collaborate. Let's see. I says I see meditation teachers doing live streaming. I'm seeing a lot of yoga instructors doing live streaming. Alex, my dear friend in Miami, we've shifted all of our posts to tell people we're in this together and that times are ahead of us. Got you, brother. Definitely the message we need. That's not a sugar-coated message either. I mean, look, we're gonna be all right. It's gonna be different, but we're gonna be all right. And the core things in our lives, I hope our family, our the love we have for one another, our friends, we'll hold on to that. It's gonna be rocky times. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it, but it's also, I think, a time filled with amazing opportunity and hope. So I am things down. As I mentioned, I'm going to be doing this on Tuesdays and Fridays. Thanks so much for tuning in and paying attention. I would love your feedback. Send me a DM, send me a tweet, send me an email or something and tell me what worked, what didn't work. What should I talk about next time? What talk out on Friday, right? So, and I'll go through the stream. If there's something important on here that I missed, I'll try my best to respond to it. And hopefully, this helped you in some small way. And I'll see you on Friday. So thanks. I appreciate you.